first experience to share.
Hello. I would like to welcome you to this wonderful place, which is one of the last building of Columbia University in this part of New York. And it has been a great blessing for the Committee on Global Thought, but also for the Apollo Theater to have the privilege of organizing this conversation. And I'm sure that is going to be a great conversation. What we are going to do now is to introduce ourselves, beginning with me. I would like to indicate that you have already received a full biography of all of us, so we are going to do it very quickly. My name is Mamadou Diouf. I'm a professor of African Studies and History at Columbia University. I am the chair of the Middle Eastern, South Asian, and African Studies Department. And I am a member of the Committee of Global Thought, which is one of the organizers with the Apollo Theater. An indication that our community at Columbia are more and more feeling that they are part of Harlem.
Hello, my name is Jonzi D. I'll just go over the pronunciation real quick if you don't mind. How would you pronounce J-O-H-N? Z. Yeah? Because I will say J-O-H-N as John, and it sounds like I'm saying Jones, but I'm not. Yeah? So you guys say Jonzi. Thank you very much. I'm the artistic director of Breaking Convention, the International Festival of Hip Hop Dance Theatre. I am also the founder of the festival. We started in 2004. The intention was to bring hip hop dance theatre into a context in which we usually see classical ballet, contemporary dance, and opera. It's something that's been very close to my heart for many years. I remember when I was in school doing break dance and pop in and lock in the mid-80s, and also having the option of contemporary dance as well. So I did both, and I've always struggled to not see it as one thing, even though they're culturally quite disparate. There are things that make the two ideas connect big time. So yeah, that's my mission.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Salah Kawensa. I'm a French dancer. People call my style more about like Mr. Entertainer because I'm very expressive. I use a different kind of dance, so that's why they call me Mr. Entertainer. And I have been doing this since more than 20 years. So, and I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you.
Hello. Oh, no. Yeah. How's it going, people? My name is Lanre Malaolu. I am an actor, choreographer, and the co-artistic director of Protocol. Protocol are a physical theatre and hip-hop dance company, and we use those styles of movement and storytelling to, I guess, make work that is politically relevant or aware in the current situation that we're in, situations that we're in. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Billy, and I'm a French dancer from Yellow. Yellow is a crew of friends, of dancers, and we do some b-boying style and hip-hop freestyle.
Thank you. So I would like to give you some information about the way in which the conversation is going to be conducted. So I have been given instructions, and I'm going to follow them. Though I am with people who are always claiming that they are subverting everything and are not necessarily following instruction. So what we are going to do first is have a conversation. I will try to moderate it. And after the conversation, we'll have a Q&A. So you will be given small cards, and please write your questions, and I will read them. So my role as a moderator is kind of giving an introduction. And as you know, it's a very difficult task when you are an academic among artists. And what makes it worse is that when they are like you using words, but they are using words differently in an environment which is very different from yours. They are using words with sound, but they are adding to their words the movement of their body. And they are interacting with their environment in a very different way. When I was asked to moderate this conversation, I tried to come up with something. And when I saw the list of the panelists, I decided that what was important, in particular in this environment, is to actually have a conversation with them around this kind of very creative tension between the very fact that hip-hop culture was born in a specific place, expanded all over the world, and have been shaped and reshaped by different histories. Places and societies have shaped not only the lyrics, but also have shaped the narratives, have shaped the sounds, have shaped the ways in which, in different parts of the world, and here because the French are overrepresented, one of the interesting things is to discover how hip-hop culture, rap, break dancing, etc., has been so important in a country like France. How it has provided a language to people who were at the margin of the society, which is also the same case in, poor neighborhood of Africa, that it has provided a language. So my first question is about that. It is about the global and the local. How something which has a global design has become very localized, and at the same time actually being the foundation of network. Jonzi D is very important in this actually, let's say, evolution. Because what is interesting about, in particular, hip-hop theater is, as I say, not only those different geographies, but how it's changing perspective. The geography of the center in relation to the periphery, of the metropolitan, in relation to the vernacular, of the West, in relation to the non-West. What makes it possible for Jonzi D to be from England, and what does it mean for him? Or Salah from France? How does Jonzi relate to a nation which has its own language? Is also interesting. So
I could answer that for you if you want. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I will give you. I can be also from time to time provocative. But I think that is important. The other important thing is the way in which it has evolved, the sites which were important. You know, from the street, which was the stage, to now theaters, but also from these festivals. I know that he created one, the breakdancing is now coming to Harlem. It has been, I think, in January in Miami. Miami is going back there. So these are questions, I think, which are important. Of course, the other question is the political question. Are you breakdancing? Are you hip-hopping for pleasure? Is it a language of contestation, a language of creating new spaces? Is it also a language of profit? These are questions which are very, very, very important question. And the last question for me, which could be part of a discussion, is the language of the body. What does it mean? Are all bodies speaking the same way in all places of the world? What does it mean for the periphery to be in the metropole and try to figure out a language of the body which is both different but at the same time claiming a heavy presence in a space in which, you know, they are being policed. So this is for me many questions which could be part of the discussion. But I know that also you have your question, you have your ways of looking at things. You are welcome to also come with them. So, Jonzi, do you want the floor?
How you guys doing? I keep saying that because I think part of being an MC is moving the crowd. You know what I mean? And making sure the crowd is constantly being moved because we're saying some stuff to all of you, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's just that energy thing, which for me is a big part of hip-hop culture. It's a big part of my family. I'm the last of 6 kids. My parents are from Grenada in the Caribbean. They came through around the 50s and 60s and had 6 kids. I'm the last of them. And I grew up around reggae music and soul music. Half of my family was into roots, dub culture. This music was constantly music of resistance. You know what I mean? There was constantly, you know, praising Jah and talking about the society and how Marcus Garvey was going to get us all together and, you know, the Black Star Line, you know what I mean? So I grew up around a lot of that. And also had soul music. Some of my brothers used to dance a lot. And I would watch them dancing to jazz funk music. People like Evelyn Champagne King, and artists like that, and a whole bunch of artists that you guys are very familiar with. But I grew up with these two things. In '79, I heard Rapper's Delight, and I felt that that was me, yeah? Because they were not singing. What I heard was a version of reggae music in that they were taking samples, or they were looping a funk track, actually a disco track, and speaking fast and rhythmically over it. And that reminded me of what I was listening in reggae music, do you know what I mean? So that was these two things coming together. Also, 2 years later, I saw a documentary about hip hop, and I saw this fast, rapid movement on the floor, and they were dancing in concrete, and I saw graffiti for the first time, and I was like, what is going on? And I heard a track that was going, wiki, 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 wiki. And I was like, what's going on? It was a whole new world. And when I saw the images of these people, they looked like me. Yeah, they were dressed like me. They were wearing sneakers. We called them trainers. We saw concrete. And I just saw an environment that I connected with immediately. And from that, that was it. That made sense to me. I also felt that my older brothers, they weren't gonna spin on their heads. I was 13 at the time. That's what we did. Do you know what I mean? So all of these things just made me connect immediately to hip hop as a culture. Do you know what I mean? How about you, Salah?
Yeah.
There are so many questions, so how I begin the question?
You take them the way you dance, improvise.
Okay. So I will tell you the first thing I always be blessing. It's the dance I do is the best way to say who you are to the people. The way I dance, the way I use my hat, the clothes, the music. I don't use hip hop music. I'm completely different, but doesn't mean my dance is not hip hop. It's me. If I use a piano music, it's because I have history about this from back in the day. I don't have a big brother, and when we was kids, it was difficult to don't have a big brother to get protect. So I need to be with people, and in the beginning, I didn't choose the good people. They was making some mistake, but I learned. And the day I saw Walid from Opposite, his Opposite is a famous French group, and Walid is a huge icon, and he changed my life. So Walid did this. I have to show you. So he did this. When I see that, I could not believe a human can live like a water. And I feel like electricity, and I feel a love of a movement. And I say, this is for me. And this is the way I begin my dance. I didn't know what is inspiration and what is copy. So I copy Walid, I copy David, I copy Walid. And one guy say, oh, you copy. So he was doing this. This means you bite, you copy someone. But nobody teach me. So when I do what I want, like Michael Jackson. Everybody in the world did the same thing like Michael Jackson. And then after I learn, and I feel without speaking, we can say so much thing with emotion, with eyes, with movement. And this for me can change the world. And I truly believe why I really love to work with Jonzi. It's not because he's here. When I work with him, he never changed me. He take what I have and say, we want to have this inside this Sadless Wells? Sorry. To be on stage. And in 2004, it was with a Vagabond. Then after I did this alone. And I told you it was my best stage. When you see everybody stand up for you, is accomplishment? Accomplishment of my past. All what I learned, and if it's experience, bad experience, good experience, I put it on stage by my emotion. And this is why, for me, hip-hop dance is one of the best gifts, because we take from the country, we take from the experience life. If we sad or if we're happy, we bring it on stage. This is why it's very touch. And this show you saw on a video, it's something about sickness. And I said to Jonzi, it's important as a MC to say to people, it's not fun like people see me, because I'm very expressive and I make people laugh. But this show is not fun. It's what happened to me and what happened around me. Friend of me, many die by cancer. We know this sickness. And we have a small sickness, and we can die about this small sickness, just a flu. So I face people with this show. We can express the sickness, but I fight against the sickness, and I don't want to die. So I scream in the show. I use just a handkerchief, and the handkerchief became a partner. And it's like a poetry, but it's specific things to understand to people The handkerchief is like a column, freedom, light. And I hope you can come to see this kind of night show, because also we got my man Lanre, who in protocol have a very, very deep story. And the ending of the show is Yeah Yellow to put sunshine, right? So, yeah, that's my life story about the dance, the way I see it.
I think what is interesting, and I'm sure that you have seen it, Jonzi D was focusing on sound and focusing on color and connecting with something which is very important, has been very important, not only in the Caribbean, but also in Harlem, thanks to Caribbean who moved to Harlem. The second thing with Salah is insisting on movement. He's also insisting on the fact that the geography within which he's coming is a very, very difficult geography. And hip-hop allowed actually to enter into a world of his own creation. And I think with Protocol and YOLO, you will see exactly the kind of things also and the resources they are using actually to also express a kind of locality which is really at the heart of this culture.
I guess for me, it started from, I guess, MJ, the absolute and utter legend, and me being in a party doing this, not knowing what I was doing at all, and like you say, this biting, and I think everyone does that at some stage in their. We all do that. It's so interesting how that is developed into something, but we all do that at the start because you have to. Because you have to grow through that. You have to peel through that. It's like a caterpillar, butterfly. You have to peel through that to be able to find, who you are. And so I started. I learned from an old school b-boy called Warren Crooks. So I learned my basics of like body popping and b-boying. But for me, I didn't find hip hop then. I was still just moving. I did African contemporary classes, and I didn't know what I was doing. Yes, I was body popping. Yes, I was doing a bit of b-boying, but I was just going with the flow and just learning and doing. Throughout all of this, which is why my story is a bit different, is because I'm an actor as well. And so during this exploration of movement, I was also acting. I went to a place called Anishir Theatre, which is now called the Young Actors Theatre in London, Islington. I was on their agency, so I was doing professional work as a child actor on television and theatre. While I was at the end of that class, myself and a friend who co-founded the company together, we started to just dance after the classes. No matter what, after every class, we just get together and dance, and that was so special, and that was something for us that no one could take away, and it just filled us with so much. And I didn't know it back then, but it was some type of healing, and it still is to this day, and it will always be a type of healing for me. A healing and understanding questions. I'm asking myself questions constantly through the work, through the making of the work, during the work, before the work, after the work. That's just me, boy. And so then I went to drama school. I'm taking you through my life, kind of. I went to a drama school called Drama Centre London, and the movement work that they do there is very important. It's movement psychology by someone called Yap Malgram, and that really talked to me. Pina Bausch's movement, Pina Bausch's work, really modern dance, contemporary, modern, I don't know, let's not go there, really talked to me as well, and what was behind the movement, as well as what was behind the hip-hop movement. And I just spent so many years trying to just play and find out and just keep failing and no, this isn't right, no, I'm copying, no, this isn't right, and just I guess I'm still finding stuff and finding, I guess, the right storytelling mechanisms to make something that holds weight on a stage. What else? Yeah. Man.
Thank you.
Hi. Sorry if my English not so good. I don't speak like them. So I began the dance maybe 20 years ago, and since I was kids, I always dance everywhere with my parents in the family. I did some small show with my sisters, and my uncle gave some money to continue to dance. So we did many parties like this. And when I watched TV, I saw dancers do some acrobatic movements. I was in high school. I saw Salah in a video. It was he passed on TV, and we record these videos because in this time we don't have professor of dance, hip-hop dance. So we are some friends and we share videos like this, and we begin to practice, go in the basement of the school to practice dancing. And we find new movement, we build the crew, and we begin to do some competitions, some battles. And during this time, my mom doesn't understand what it is. Me too. We just like to dance, like the sound, like the music. It was new for them to listen rap music or to move with wave or find a new movement, slide on the floor. So my mom, I was good in school and I stay out all the night for practicing. So she think why she practice a lot, why she stay out a lot. Maybe he's a gangster, what he do. So, and for the story, I come from the neighbor of Paris, and in the neighbor, and in France, the hip hop don't have a good spirit. It's like it's not a good thing. If you hear hip hop, you are bad guys. If you do something like this, you have a cap, is not a good stuff for the parents and for people. So my mom doesn't understand that, and I really love dance. I don't know why, I just did it. So we build and do many stuff, and one moment I decide to try to do dance for my life, and I begin to do some audition for theater, and I go in different company, and in the same time we do many battles with my crew and we win many stuff. And I begin a professional career, and at this moment my mom doesn't want to come to a show. She never see me on stage or in competition. So I decide to do my stuff alone with my friend and my new families. And in this period, I have other friends who don't dance and they did bad spirits, you know. In the neighbor, we do bad stuff. And with the dance, I don't part of this because I have an objective. It was to be better like Vagabond and be good in battle. So every
You
time.
said that, man. You said it now.
So we worked a lot, and I think hip hop dance maybe saved me in this direction because I know if I didn't dance at this time, I did bad stuff. And right now, I create a crew, Yellow, because my favorite color is yellow, and I build it with Camille. She's my wife, and her favorite color is yellow too. So we build yellow, and we bring many friends of us in order to be together and show hip hop is not bad stuff. Hip hop, it's save us, and we would like to show to everybody we can do good stuff with hip hop. We want to be good in battle. We can do good with us body. We practice a lot. We want to tell good stories and bad stories too. But and here we bring students, friends, and the show. It's we bring sunshine and the yellow color for you.
Celebration.
So, but why is yellow so important for you? What are you trying to carry with such a color?
I don't know. It's since I was kids, I bring yellow. I really like this color, and my friends was black friends. I come from Caribbean, Guadeloupe. It's a small island in the Caribbean, and my friends are black, and they call me yellow because my skin is yellow. And my nickname, BD, it's about this. It's B like bee, and D for dancer, dragon, stuff like this. And it's black and yellow, so it's for that everybody called me B when I was with them, and it's my nickname, BD. And why it's so important is it's the sun.
Yeah, I asked a question because when I didn't know, and when I saw you, I knew what was it. But what I read about the yellow, it's a whole philosophical thing about the sun, etc., etc.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it's an interesting tension to see precisely how different perceptions are being in play in this kind of situation. But another question I would like to ask all of you is the kind of choice of solo performance and performance in a group. How those kind of choices are made, and what are their effect in your practice as artists?
I started doing solo work because I couldn't afford to pay dancers. That was the initial reason, do you know what I mean? I couldn't afford to pay people. I had a vision, and I thought the best way is just to DIY, man. You know what I mean? Just do it yourself. That was the original reason. And then I started working with some dancers, and they were just so much better than me that I just stopped dancing, man, and just started, let me just do the rap side of things, and let's make this theater thing, and you guys do the dance. Also, I was not great with unison and actually dancing with people at the right time and stuff. So actually, the reason why I did solo work, because I just felt confident doing solo stuff. and not so much working with people. Funny, I mean, I do, as a director, I like working with ensembles and watching power relationships with dance and stuff. That really interests me. But yeah, I think the solo role for me was purely practical reasons. And I think there's a confidence as well with the belief that I can hold a stage, and I believe I can hold an audience. So I think that side of it helps as well.
And Salah, because you are basically a solo artist, and the interesting aspect for me, at least, coming also from a very French background, the mime aspect is very important. You are not only dancing, you are also moving and talking and saying something, which is important. Do you think that it's possible only, for one man show? Or
So, I will be honest with you. I don't like your question. Because I'm going to say something and I'm going to be a little bit hurt because when I begin dance, like I told you, I have no big brother, so it's so different when we begin. And when I begin, so many people make joke of me. So from 10 years, people were saying, you're not a dancer, you're a clown. When I was younger, and when people say to me this, I feel hurt. You're not a dancer, you clown. And when they was doing this, they put me in a corner. So I feel like very hurt. Then after I met the family. The family is one of the biggest beginner team, B-boy, who really completely changed the game in Battle of the Year. Because we was against USA, Roxforce. And what we bring was so different style of people. So it's like how to say, ultimate team when you bring a superhero, and every dancer who was in family brings something special. We lost because one member touched the guy from USA, and they create, this is why Battle of the Year create this kind of rules. And we changed the game. So when the dancer go back to USA, all the USA people say, you lost. You win, but you lost. They was better than you just by touch. And that changed the game, and it give us like a credit. So when I was with them, I was no more alone. Then after family, I decided to do audition, like B. And I was working with contemporary people. My first audition was sur une cité danse. And it was, you do audition, and you dance, and you get a little bit paid for 2 weeks training, and after you do the show. This changed my life, because it was the first time people don't say, you're a clown, it's you. And when I did this, the channel, the French channel was there, and they filmed me, and I was so expressive, and I was mixing stand-up entertain with dancing, and it completely changed because nobody was doing this. Then after I feel people was interested of what I do, so I keep going, and I was with Montal Voyervieux. It changed also my life, because it was the only contemporary company was doing world tour. So we did 3 years, like all French and all the world. So I was able to show who I am in every country, and I was using each country to go out, to go to club, to show myself, to battle people, and this make my name. So people accept who I am as Salah, but it was difficult. And then after, when I was with Vagabond, something hurt me, is because we had a new member, and he was very talented in air flare. It's a very a big move when it's look like you fly in the air. And he was taking my specific signature move, and he was putting air flare. And the member of Vagabond say, no, let's him doing this. So I was in back, and he was in the front, so I could not do any more of my moves because he was doing my moves. So I feel hurt when my cousin Mohamed say, no, let him doing this. So then after I decide it's time for me to leave the crew. It was difficult, but it was time for me to create something from me, bringing and say to the people, okay, it's me, you like, you don't like, whatever. And this is the way I create Glooby Show. And it was everything I cannot say in front of you, I will do it by character, entertaining. And this changed my life because I did TV show and I win. And this completely make my name in the front, change the game in France, change the game in Europe. A lot of people copy the show, get inspired. And this is why I think I decide to stay in solo. And after I want to develop and give more message. When I dance now, I really want to give what happened in France, what happened in the world, about sickness, about colors, you know. So it's difficult because I miss my crew. I miss to be with people. Yeah. But when you feel hurt like that, now you take your decision and you take a choice who you want to practice with and who you want to work with.
Thank you. Is it not also because of being by yourself, you have been able to incorporate within something which is called hip-hop many other things which are not part of it? When I saw one of your performance, and I was amazed by the fact that mime seems to be very important in your way of dancing. And I was thinking about Marceau, whom you know, etc. Is it something also which is part of what you have been doing?
The thing is, when I was kids, I wanted to do the class of Mime Marceau. It was too expensive. Okay. My parents could not pay this. It was very expensive, the school of Mime Marceau. So the street show, when I did the street show, we saw some people doing mime. Yeah. And in France, back in the day, it was allowed. Sometimes police give a ticket, but it was more free than now. Now it's not, it's forbidden. Now they block it. But yes, I am a very, very fan of Charlie Chaplin, Michel Courtemanche. Michel Courtemanche for me was the magic man. And this is why when I did in the Suresnes, I was dancing and I changed my face and I say, oh, they have a lot of people. And I switch off. That's his signature move. I create that. This is the way I see people really enjoy. Yeah, of course. But I didn't know what is copy or what. When I like, I do it, you know. Yes, people really say, did you take class of mime? But I say, no, street. Yeah. Which means it's best school.
But I think it's amazing because in some of what you do is really what is expressive for me is this mime dimension.
Yeah. Is it on to me?
Yes.
Great. Because I know you were playing specifically solo performances.
Yeah.
So could you reiterate the question to me again so I can...
No, I was just trying to figure out the kind of choices which are made by artists.
Got you. Did I make choices or did they just build from... I don't know, maybe it's wrong of me to think of it, but I had an impulse. So my impulse was to tell stories through dance, through movement. That was my impulse. Actually watching loads of people, videos of Salah probably in some way inspired me in terms of the storytelling elements. When I was younger, coming across his work and that from start to finish, not just doing moves that for me that were just which is, I guess, is an element of telling a story through the music, but there's another level, and I was interested in that other level where you don't have to necessarily rely on the music to tell a story. And so I found, I spent a long time, I guess, exploring what that was. And I actually did our first, I might as well say, I founded, and with a friend, Protocol, after watching Breaking Convention in 2008. And so we watched the show with a dance company called Plague, a UK company who use tap dance, house, pop-in, and they use these styles at the top level, and they use those styles to tell a story. And then I saw a b-boy crew called Myo Song, Korean? From Korea. Yeah, from Korea. That inspired, and again, there was a story, and I felt moved. I felt physically moved watching those pieces, and I thought to myself, I want to be able to do that, and there's something inside me that wants to do that. And so I continued to just play. And so we did a piece, called Antibody at Breaking Convention in 2013, which was all about the music being an infection. What would it be like if the music is an actual infection to our bodies? There was about 8 of us on stage. And so we used the music as the first inspiration, as the impulse to tell the story, and then we just continued to build and build and build. But it was very much the music was the thing for a good, 4 years of the growth of my work and the company's work. It was about the music. And then I guess I just started to explore an idea first. What keeps me up at night? What keeps me up at night? What gets me going? What makes me shake? What makes me laugh? What makes me move? And then working from that, and then seeing where things can go. And I think when I started to work from that, again, Breaking Convention was the kind of the key for that, because we did something called Open Art Surgery, which is a week-long course where Jonzi D, Breaking Convention, invite choreographers and companies to explore a new piece of work. Throughout this week, you do workshops with Jonzi D or with other mentors who help you to explore the way you work as an artist. And so we did this. We explored the theme of manhood and what it means to be a man in this world that we're living in. And throughout that whole piece, we used, I think it was two pieces of music. Because we worked from the idea. We worked with the physical and vocal and textual language, using the hip-hop, background that we had, and the other elements of movement psychology and modern dance, and just smashing them together and just seeing what happens. And it just continued to build from there, really.
Because I think also seeing your performance is one of the most powerful image I actually draw from it is the smashing of sound,
yeah.
of word, the way you play it, but at the same time how it is related.
Yeah.
Too many bodies moving at
Yeah.
the same time. And I think that it's also something interesting when you contrast this kind of composition of many bodies to a performance, which is a solo performance.
Yeah, I think for me it's all about, they say the saying, speak your truth, and I think that's very important about my work. But speaking your pain as well is very important about my work, very important. I think we all have pain. I think we all have pain in some way. And I'm interested in uncovering that to the deepest level. But also the flip side, the lightness and the humor and the absurdity of this life that we're living, that can sometimes be, which is why all my pieces that I make, it's so important that there is humor. Also, you don't want to just have a piece that is just like, and it's just heavy, heavy, heavy. You wanna. I think it's a real challenge for you as an artist to create this journey, this path that you're taking people on. and just playing about with that, and then hitting them there, and then stopping, and then you know. So yeah.
I think that you are right that the issue of pain is very important in the way you're performing. But are you trying to unmask something which is deeply more in your body than in your mind? Because if it is about storytelling, what does it mean to express pain through bodies which are precisely clashing, but still dancing, I guess?
Yeah, I just can't answer that because I don't. It is an impulse, and trying to work out an impulse for me is always a hard thing because you just do it, don't you? You know. Yeah. I don't know.
I can attempt.
Please, I want to.
Sorry, I just. I think the pain aspect of it is interesting because when I look at a lot of street dance forms, a lot of them look painful. Do you know what I mean? I remember when I first saw breaking, you know, it was difficult. People were twisting themselves in weird shapes and spinning on their heads, you know what I mean? And then stepping up and smiling. You know what I mean? So, you know, there is something about a lot of these dances that we do that is about an extreme, you know what I mean? How far can you go? How far can your back extend? How much can you pretzel and twist your body? Do you know what I mean? And smile, you know what I mean? So I think that there is something about the alchemy of pain and something that looks awkward, and how can we find the beauty in that, you know what I mean? When you come and see the Soweto skeleton movers, they use very extreme contortionism, you know, and then smile, and then do it with a little funky move, do you know what I mean? So it almost says that in spite of the pain that we experience in our lives, we can turn that into beauty and turn that into art and turn that into something that we can all share and enjoy.
It's interesting when I listen to you saying that and going back to what I do, which is reading books. And one of the fascinating things about dance, if you take Du Bois or you take Senghor, they believe that this is the black art. This is where the traces of what we have been are expressed in the present. This is the way in which we actualize our humanity, not only as human beings, but as people who were the ancestor of the whole of the human. So dance become the expression of the human condition, and what you say here is true. I will give you the last word before asking for questions.
La question exacte, c'est quoi?
C'était en termes de solo et en termes de groupe, le choix.
For me, we dance in crew, but the crew was built for one reason. It's this show, we perform it for Battle of the Year, and for this competition we have to be a crew. And where I practice, I already win Battle of the Year in France one time, and many people know me because I build good show to these competitions. And in my practice room there are many dancers, and they didn't know where they want to go, what direction in dance they would like, but they have this dream to go to Battle of the Year. And it was more like students. For me, it was my small brother, so with Camille, we think about to regroup all of these dancers and begin to practice for this way. So it was a first objective to do a good show for this competition. So we take time to practice in solo, because in b-boying it's important to be good in solos. We take time to practice some routines. It's different routines of other groups, so different spirit, different stuff. So we do this like this, and it was, for me it was important because when I told before, hip hop saved me, and in France the school cursus is strange, because if you want to do something in school, they told you you can't. I don't know, I want to do cinemas, and they watch my notes and say, no, you will do electricity. I want to do dance, and they say, no, dance is not for a boy, it's for a girl, so you will do mathematics. And I saw in my small brother stuff like that. I'm sure they would like to dance, but because of the society, they did. It's not my choice. Huh? They did school and jobs and stuff, and I'm happy they did this to live. But I would like to show them, if they want, they can be professional dancer or amateur dancer and do the both. They can really choose, and it's for this I regroup all the dancers to give them the opportunity to travel, to go more how to say more deep on what they like. And I think you will see when we are in crew, we have many fun. We laugh a lot. We always do jokes with dance, and we try to put this in the show. And in France, we call this la joie de vivre. So I hope you will see this in our show, and voila.
Thank you. We have 1 minute, but I have one question I have to ask Jonzi. In one of your letters, you make a distinction between old hip-hop and new. So could you tell us what?
Are you referring to a piece that I created?
Absolutely.
Called Broken Lineage.
Yeah.
In this piece, Broken Lineage, I was exploring the space that happened, particularly in the UK, where old school hip hop went out of fashion by '86. Yeah, it happened in America too. Yeah, there was the explosion of breaking, popping, and DJing, and graffiti, and this whole holistic culture that happened in the UK. We exploded in the early '80s. By '86, it had gone. Rocksteady Crew we didn't hear about them no more. A lot of the media that put them up and put them on a pedestal, it felt like it was just gone. It was out of fashion, and we don't do that no more. We're going to move on to the next thing. And then what happened, there was still some people that were holding on to the culture. There was people like Storm in the late 80s. He's a b-boy from Germany. And he would travel around Europe looking for other b-boys that were still committing to the culture, you know, in this wasteland at the time. And then slowly but surely, come the late 80s and the early 90s, around Europe, Japan, and the rest of the world, hip-hop started to rise out of the ashes again, you know what I mean? And a lot of the events that were happening, like Battle of the... Well, that was probably a little bit later, but there was... We started to do battle events around Europe, you know what I mean? And in that time period, hip hop came back, and a lot of the old schoolers that was in the 80s, they were like, oh, what's happening? Our culture's coming back. I need to get back and just let these new kids know what it is. Whereas a lot of the new kids were pushing the culture on and doing some fresh stuff, whereas the old schoolers are like, nah, man, you're doing it wrong. And this is what the exploration of that defining time period, which I believe is still affecting us now.
I think it was important, it's an important question for us because still part of the controversy going on about what it means to be within the hip-hop culture. We have many, many questions, which is an indication of the interest of this conversation.
Yes.
What I'm going to do is I'm going probably to read all of them and you react to which one is more interesting than you. The first question is hip-hop all welcoming? Or is it exclusive to only certain races, demographics? What do you have to be a hip-hopper? Very quickly, because I think
I'll be very quick. Hip-hop has never, in my time period, ever been something that's only for specific races, ever. From the very time I discovered hip-hop watching TV, I was sitting with my white friend called John Whelan, and we sat together and we watched it together at the same time, and we practiced and started working it out together. So for me, it never was.
For me too, and for the dance, for me, everybody can dance. Tall, small, big, white, red, yellow. Everybody can dance, and particularly it's important for me because I choose hip-hop because you can create and do what you want. For me, with the other dance, there is rules. From hip-hop, no rules. You can do what you want. Don't say less people tell you there is you have to do this. Or it's wrong. For me, it's wrong.
Second question, how does hip-hop, in contrast to other form of art, specifically touch the emotion of those who are marginalized in society? En fait, la question c'est pourquoi, en fait, à la différence des autres arts, le hip-hop, en fait, touche plus les émotions, mais en particulier des émotions des gens qui sont des marginaux dans la société.
I think because hip-hop, it's like out of the society. It's, comment on dit,
It's counterculture.
Exactly. Yeah. With hip-hop, I don't know if you in US, but in France, when right now, the guys who want to speak against the society come from the rap music. It's the dancers. I watch many shows of hip-hop dancers who speak about what is wrong in the society, and hip-hop have the
Resistance.
No, have the burn to go in this way, you know, and I don't know why, but it's like this for me.
You have all talked about self-expression, the impulse of hip-hop, and fitting into yourself. How do you reconcile this with the expectation of your world/society? In other words, why choose the path less secure, accepted, normalized?
So what's the last bit?
Why
the
choose
path less
secure,
accepted, normalized? You've got to add the...
Yeah,
For me, I think that to follow the path of normalized and whatever is firstly, in this society, I am not normal. Yeah? I am not normal. No matter how much I want to try and go and follow society as it's meant to be, it will never accept me. So we have to create our own world. And that's what we're doing with hip-hop culture. And I think hip-hop culture allows us to be different. We're allowed to be weird. We're allowed to be not normal. And the thing is, we are the truest because nobody is normal. Look at our fingerprints. Can you give me a normal fingerprint, please? Humanity is not normal. What's that all about? Humanity is naturally diverse and different, do you know what I mean? So we are just expressing the truth of what existence and humanity is, I believe.
I think it's an important observation, precise, is what I was calling when I introduced all of you, the part of hip-hop culture which is visual, which is about precisely the difference and the way in which it is an intervention on a public space which has quote-unquote norms, and coming with something different becomes an important element in this discussion. Third question, are you more concerned with your own experience in the dance or how your audience experiences your dance? Salah, this is a question for you. Are you dancing for yourself or for the audience? Or both, I don't know.
I think it's 50-50. And the funny thing is, when I did the Sur une Cité Danse, I was so afraid to be on stage. And this African dancer said to me, Salah, if you take 50% for you, and you give 50% for the audience, if you're good, the audience gives you back the 50%. And you have your 50%. So you get 100%. But if they don't respond, you still have half.
Yeah.
So since this African dancer, when he gave me this, always, this is really strange. 20 years dance, I have done street show, private performance, gala, TV show, theater show. Every time before the show, I'm afraid like it's my first time I go on stage. And people say, no, you're not stressed. I say, yes, I'm sweating and I'm afraid because it's never the same audience. You know now the world. We are in the world of internet. Everybody expects something like, oh, Salah, he's gonna fly now. he's gonna make a freeze and he will arrive on his nose. You know, this is, you know.
We have
right?
very high expectations of Salah, okay? He will fly this weekend. Sorry.
Be ready.
The thing is, when I was in a battle, I bring magic. This is why I told you I get critic. I was dancing and I did this and a cane came. And everybody, whoa! All the audience was with me. But the judge kicked me out and I lose the battle. But the audience booed the judge. So I make problem. So when I was in a competition, I was a problem. But I was different. But the thing is, for me, the audience is the real trophy.
Yeah.
Always for me. And my name is because of the audience. The audience accept who I am. And I can tell you, from more than 10 years, people critique me. It was hurt, but I fight. I fight because the audience was with me. And the audience was an arc-en-ciel? Arc-en-ciel?
Rainbow.
A rainbow. All religion, all country on stage with me, watching me. This is for me why I give a message, I enjoy myself, but when I look at you, I see your expression. If you look at like this, I know, oh, maybe I do a move and he's like, oh, what is this? Okay, I keep going. I hypnotize you. So this is why I love the reaction of the audience, and every time I am on stage is a new experience for me, even we are professional or not.
I think as well. Oh, next question. There's that saying. What's the saying? If a tree falls in a what's the saying? If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Is that the saying? Yeah. And so that's how. Fucking hell, mate. So is that the saying? Yeah, tree, forest. Yeah, that one. Sorry. Basically, that's the audience. That's for me. That's the audience. Before it was quite selfish. It was just okay. Yeah, you're doing this for you. And then I can't remember. But there was a point where it became, well, actually, they are part of this performance. So now in rehearsals, if we do a run, okay, I'll say, okay, cool, we're ready for an audience now, because it's like you say, 50% is kind of there. And then when you get in front, when you're on stage, anything can, you don't know. You just don't know.
It's so special.
You just don't know. And that is what makes it, alive. So yes. Forest, trees, yeah. Right, sorry.
These are two questions which are very close. It's about the social issues which are pertinent in your community, and how do you deal with actually picking up some of those issues and dealing with them. We don't have enough time, so what I will do is just to read quickly some of the questions. This is an important one. The event is called Fight the Power. You mentioned music of resistance, power relationship with dance, struggle around your own identity and legitimacy. What is the potential of dance to be the language of protest and fight against political and social challenges? What situation could you think of?
A situation that we could fight against?
Yeah.
Peace.
Everything that's going on in the world today. Okay, so I made a show called Lyrical Theatre in 1995. And in that show, I did a piece about displacement, being a black man born and bred in London and being called nigger growing up and thinking, whoa, and nigger go home. I'm thinking, wait, but I am home. I was born and bred in London. How are you telling me I've got to go home? So I did a piece about that and going to the land of my parents, where they're from, and realizing that they called me an English boy. So that was that. I did a piece about gun violence, in which I did a solo with a gun, and I didn't speak at all, and it was just a mime piece with a gun. I've done a piece called Broken Mirror, which is about black on black violence. Basically, I find it hard to make work that isn't about some social condition.
But I think it's important that you went back in this discussion to identity, because part of your work is about really showing how the United Kingdom has changed. Yes. That the idea of being a British has changed. And I think that this is probably one of your most important contribution in this turn European de souche, to speak like the French, are relating to a world which is crumbling. And I think, some of your pieces shows really that engagement. And I think it's something which is important to circulate all over the world. How much time do we have? We are done. Zero.
No time.
I'm very sorry, but we have really very, very good question. This is a very quick one. Favorite break dance to dance to?
Favorite break, music break.
Music.
What's your favorite break to dance
Break to dance to.
But like I say, I use everything, so...
What's your favorite?
Favorite?
You don't have a favorite?
I don't have a favorite. I hear on new music every time, and I remix music. So right now, my favorite music is Yeah Yellow Sunshine in the show. It's a song.
My last question, because it's a fun question. Try to imagine a hip-hop influence that influenced the US president.
The what? The what?
The US president.
Oh, Trump.
Try to imagine a hip-hop influenced president in the US. Didn't we just lose one? Didn't we just lose one? We had Common going up into the White House and spitting, right? I can't see that happening now for some reason. Don't know why.
Well, he's spitting, but not bars. He's just spitting, just talking.
Huh?
Yeah. So I would like to thank you for a great question. I would like to thank you for a great discussion. And I would like to thank the Apollo and the CGT. So you have
I'd just like to just say that we've got 5 minutes, so if there's anybody that wants to come chat, then I'm all ears.
And also, we have a festival going on all week, and you can see these wonderful dancers and their shows this weekend at the Apollo. Please make sure to get flyers or brochures before you leave, and buy your tickets now. I know you like to stand in line, the long line, and wait until the last minute, but buy them now so we don't miss them. Thank you so much.
Can I say something before we leave? Before? I really want to say to everybody, don't miss Friday and Saturday. I'm not used to promote my show or the show of others, but this is the first time I'm touring with the strong shows. And from the beginning till the end, it's a really, really good temperature. It will make you enjoy, think about life, and celebration. So don't miss Friday and Saturday. Have a good night, everybody.